Hi, welcome to this week's practice. So this week's practice is going to be all about opening up the breath through a little bit of diaphragmatic massage and then through some nice deep stretches for the chest and the upper back. Now, I don't know if you can tell, but I actually do have quite a bad cold at the moment. You can probably hear it in my voice. So these are some of the stretches, the practices that I quite like to do when it feels like my breath is just a little bit tight and I want to create a little bit more space. And as you can see, I'm doing it on my bed, and this is a kind of perfect practice to do on the bed, and we're even going to use the edge of the bed for one of the stretches. Now, to begin with, you might want to prop yourself up on some pillows and think about making yourself comfy for this first practice. And we're actually just going to start by using our fingers and using our breath to actually bring a little bit of release through the diaphragm. So if you kind of bring your fingers together, make like little, almost like little curved claw shapes, and just find the bottom of your rib cage. So feel around until you can feel where you can kind of tuck your fingers just underneath the rib cage, and your waistband might get in the way and you might have to move it down a little bit. And just find that spot where you can kind of hook your fingers under your rib cage, almost like you're holding your rib cage. And then we're just going to apply some very gentle pressure with the fingers. And don't move the fingers. You don't need to rub them around. We're just going to use our breath to create the massage. So you're just going to create a nice big breath in and out. And as you do that, you'll notice the pressure under your fingers as you breathe in. And then the sinking back of your fingers on the exhale. Let's take that once more, just where your fingers are. And notice the feeling of pressing against the fingers and then releasing with your exhale. And then just wiggle your fingers along, find another spot along the rib cage and just carry on with that. Still fingers, moving breath. So we're just gently massaging the diaphragm, this large sheet muscle that controls or helps to control our breathing. That sometimes gets a little bit sticky. Sometimes the fascia, the connective tissues get a little bit sticky. And keep moving your fingers along. And when that happens, it can be difficult to take a full deep breath. So we're just moving the fingers along. You could move them more towards the middle. And gently loosening those tissues away from the abdominal wall. You can come all the way underneath the sternum here. This can also be a great technique if you're experiencing stress. If the body starts to pick up that feeling of that stickiness, that it can't take full breaths, it's a cue for the nervous system to get a little bit activated. A sense of not being able to take a big breath is a sort of promotes a survival response in the body. So if you've been feeling quite anxious, this can also be a really nice tip. Notice if there's anywhere along the rib cage that feels a little bit stickier that you want to just focus on. We'll take a couple last breaths here. Notice if your body's responding at all. Maybe you're feeling a bit calmer or a little bit sleepy. And then we'll just release the fingers and just make one of your hands into a fist. And we're just going to use this ridge of knuckles here. Just make sure the microphone's out the way here. Just rub it gently up and down across your sternum. So across the breastbone here. And again, we're just gently encouraging the tissues underneath to soften, to loosen, to come away from any little stickiness. And I find this one gives me a really strong parasympathetic response. I feel like yawning. I feel, my nervous system really responds to this one. I just feel a lot calmer and sleepier and safer when I do this. And we'll just let that go And just take a couple of breaths now and just notice if there's any little subtle shifts and changes just by doing that little bit of gentle massage. And then pop the pillows back. We're going to come down onto our fronts. So coming down onto the bed, just find a Sphinx pose first of all. So forearms in front of you, and we're not looking for a deep Sphinx. Remember, we're thinking here about the upper back and the breath. Sorry, the camera just wobbled. That's because the cat just walked past. He might come up on the bed. So thinking about maybe moving the elbows a bit further away from you to increase that stretch between the shoulder blades. There he is, that's Pippin. And we're just using this really as a transition pose. So what we're going to do is do bow tie, followed by broken wing on both sides. So we're going to stretch now through the shoulders and through the chest and the upper back, just to make sure that we can take nice big breaths. So we'll start with bow tie. Just going to bring your left elbow in front of your chest and let your left hand go pointing out to the right, and then bring your right elbow on the other side of it with your hand pointing out to the left, and you can wiggle your hips forward until you find, and wiggle the hands apart until you find a nice stretch through the upper back. Now you can also bring your forehead down here, which might be nice if you're feeling quite tired, just to rest it down and get that stretch across the upper back. Or you can sort of stay more in this Sphinx variation. See which feels nicest for your upper back. And we're going to really concentrate on our breath here. I'm just keeping my head up so you can hear me. So we're just going to take 10 nice deep breaths and really concentrate on breathing into the upper back here. And your hips, your tummy, your pelvis, your legs are all just totally relaxed. Really not needing to do anything. This is another nice reason to do a practice on the bed, just because it's so much comfier than being on the floor. So you can really allow all the muscles that don't need to work to just soften and be held by the bed. Maybe taking one more breath here. And of course you could turn this into more like a yin practice, and you could pause the video after each pose and actually hold for a couple of minutes. I'm just going to carry on now. We're going to do 10 breaths per stretch, just assuming maybe you're doing this when you're not feeling that well. Come back up to your Sphinx and then stretch the right arm away from you. Now it can be straight or it could be at a kind of 45-degree angle. Choose whichever one works for you, and then bring your right shoulder, your right ear down and roll onto your right hip. Tuck the knees in, and you can just use your left hand to support yourself. So now we're in this broken wing, so we're opening through the front of the chest. We'll take just 5 breaths here, and then I'll give you a modification if you want to take it a bit further. But first, just settle in. And again, let the low body be soft, be held by the bed. And if you're liking this, just stay as it is. If you'd like to take it a little bit further, what you can do is start to lift that left foot, let it drift behind you. Again, this might be enough for you, but another option is to lift this left hand, bring it back, find your foot or your ankle, and actually kick the foot into the hand to draw that left shoulder back so you get a full stretch across the whole of the front of the chest. So you are getting a little bonus quad stretch here, but really we're using the leg to draw the shoulder back rather than the hand drawing the foot back. Again, keeping everything that doesn't need to work nice and relaxed. Take some big breaths. And again here, if you've got this bind, you can feel into the front of the chest. How does it feel to breathe into this expansion across the front of the chest? So your breath is doing really as much work here as your muscles and your ligaments. Just as when we kept our fingers still and breathed against them in the massage, here we're holding the pose and using the breath to expand that sense of breath. Okay, we're going to gently release the foot, bring it down, bring the left hand out in front of you and roll onto your tummy and come back to a sphinx. You need to adjust your body there for a moment. Just pause and feel into the right shoulder compared to the left. And we'll just take it to the other side. So bringing the right elbow in front of you, right hand faces to the left, left elbow in front of that, hand points to the right. Wiggle your hips till you find the kind of stretch that you want, and your head could be up, your head could be down. Let's take 10 slow, deep breaths, again focusing on the upper back in this pose. And if you've got a cold like I have, you might notice that your breaths are a little shorter, a little bit more constricted than normal. That's fine. You don't need to force your breath. Just accept the limits that your body is putting on you today. And see if you can approach the pose with gentleness, with compassion. Gently slide the arms apart. Find your sphinx, and then left arm will go out to the side, left ear, left shoulder, left hip. Tuck your legs up and find a comfy version of broken wing. And just take 5 breaths here, letting your body relax. Just really allowing the weight of your body on your shoulder to do the work of the stretch. So you don't need to push or pull through your hand. If you want to take it a little bit further, you can lift that right knee, drift those toes behind you. And you could just hold there, or you could lift the foot a little bit more, reach back with your right hand, take hold of the foot or take hold of the ankle and kick the foot into the hand to draw your shoulder back. And now breathe deeply into the front of the chest and into that expansion that you're creating. And let's gently let the foot go, bring the knee back, bring the hand back, roll onto your stomach, come back to Sphinx just for a moment and feel in to your upper back. Excuse me. We're going to just slide the right knee out to the side now, taking a little half frog. So your knee is going to be in line with your hip, and you can flex the foot. And you might just actually just want to rest here with your body, upper body in Sphinx, and just take that little hip stretch, breathing now into the hip and into the lower abdomen, and feeling a little bit of the space that you create for deeper abdominal breaths when you loosen through the hip in this way. But you also have the option of adding a side bend to the left side of the body to open up and expand the lung on the left. So with that, what you're going to do is just turn your upper body to face towards the right. So you're almost kind of crunching in a little bit on the right. And you can just let your head come down on your forehead or on your left ear and feel that nice stretch through the left side of the body. And depending which pose you chose, just think about some of that biofeedback you're getting. So breathing into the abdomen, feeling it press down into the bed, or breathing into the side of the body and feeling the expansion as you use your breath just to lengthen through the left side of the body. And again, just keep your hips, keep your lower body as relaxed as possible here. And again, this is one of the great benefits of doing a practice like this on the bed, because this can feel like quite a lot on a hard floor. It can be quite sore on the hips, quite sore on the knees. But here in your bed, it's nice and comfy and everything's cushioned. It's really not cheating to do these kind of practices in ways that support you to be able to relax in them. You're going to get so much more benefit from the pose if you can find ease than if you're sort of forcing yourself to constantly resist or be in a place of harshness. Take one more breath here and gently slide the knee back in and straighten the body, and we'll just go to the other side. So bring the left knee up in line with the hip and flex the foot, and maybe you just want to stay here and breathe into the abdomen and keep your head up, or maybe you want to start to turn the upper body towards that left knee and come down, maybe on your forehead, maybe on your right ear, and stretch through the right side of the body, coming back into nice, slow, deep breaths. Take one more big breath, and then gently straighten the leg. And we're actually going to now roll over to our backs. So, now I'm going to give you a couple of options for our final pose. One is just to come into a reclined bound angle. So coming down on your back, bringing your feet together, as far away or as close to your body as you would like. Just see what feels like a nice opening through the hip, and just really focusing here on the openness that we now have across our abdominal cavity, just to really breathe in and feel that expansion through your abdomen, and breathe out and feel that biofeedback of your body softening against the bed. And you could also bring your arms above your head here for a little bit more of a shoulder opening. And this is such a lovely, deep, gentle stretch. If you would like a little bit more for your upper back and your shoulders, and please don't do this one if you have high blood pressure or if you have any issues with your neck or the upper parts of your spine. In that case, just stay reclined on the bed. But you do have the option, since we're on the bed, to come back and use the edge of the bed to help bring more of an opening. So you're going to find the edge of the mattress and find a point where it feels like there's maybe a bit of stickiness, and just let your shoulders be on the edge of the mattress, a little bit like you're getting the massage from the mattress, the way we were using our fingers before. And then you can find that butterfly shape. And again, this might be enough for you. Or you can also bring your arms above your head and let gravity gently pull the arms and the shoulders and the head down. And here you'll get a big long stretch through the whole of the front of the body and across the throat as well. And again, just see if you can find that deep abdominal breath, whichever version of the pose you chose. And if at any point this pose becomes uncomfortable, just come out of it, settle on the bed, take gentleness. I really love this upper back stretch. Actually, at the end of the day, if I've been working on my laptop and I've been really crunching in. And the other thing you can do is gradually edge yourself a little bit further down the side of the mattress, so you can shift that massage point, that stretch point, as you start to lengthen through your spine. So you might start just at the top of your spine, but you can sort of gradually move down through the upper back. And when you're ready to come out of this one, interlace your hands behind the back of the neck and use them to cradle your head. So you're not using your neck to come up. You can use your tummy muscles for help. Maybe lift the knees and come up gently. And then just stretch out with your back flat on the mattress. Maybe your knees want to knock in together. Come back to some deep abdominal breaths. Let your shoulders and your upper back settle, and just notice how you're feeling now across the front of the chest, into the shoulders, the upper back and the hips. And notice how your breath is feeling. I hope that you enjoyed this yoga therapy practice for open breathing, and that if, like me, you have a cold, you found it helpful today. I look forward to practicing again with you soon. Please do like and subscribe, and leave in the comments any more yoga therapy practices that you would like me to upload. Shanti, peace.